Fireside Friday. My name is PJ Crouch, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to PJ Crouch YouTube and my weekly live stream known as Fireside Friday. And I'll get into that for anybody who's new. How this came about in just a second, but first and foremost, let's go over the communication. I don't want to call them rules and guidelines, but that might be the easiest thing to do. So, hey Ty, is that you? If it is, message me and let me know. So, um, yeah, and that goes along perfect with what I was about to say. If you have a YouTube channel or Google account, you can log in to YouTube using your Google account. Um, and message me in the chat box, which you will see pop up now because I just typed hi in it. If that does not work, if you are one of my friends, message me on Facebook or direct message me on Instagram or so and um so and if you're not one of my friends on Facebook, don't worry because I have a solution for you guys too. Head over to Facebook and like the Facebook page PJ Crouch YouTube and message me from there because I have my phone pink case and all. Yes, it's pink temporarily. Um, that I can read messages from, or I have a new mode of communication. That is, let's see, 24 hours old. I am now on Twitter. So if you want to follow me that way, my handle or whatever you want to call it is at crouch underscore PJ. So it's my last name first and my first name last. Gotta love those random handle generators that Twitter uses. But I didn't feel like messing around and changing it yesterday. So I didn't. So, and if you're watching this from Twitter stream, because I shared the link to Twitter already. Let me make sure that posted correctly. If you're watching from Twitter, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe buttons and be a part of the team that's kind of forming because we're getting one. Yep, the link posted. So, let's get started. A lot has actually happened this week. If you are already a subscriber, you might already know this. But if you're not, but you venture around YouTube, you may find this a little interesting. So, my YouTube channel has been up and running for about a year, but I really got serious about it 6 months ago, probably. When I got back from a little bit of a summer excursion, and I started asking God, okay, how can I use the ministry that I am, or the not really the ministry I'm gaining, but the experiences I'm gaining to help others. And he said he basically he didn't speak to me audibly because he really doesn't do that very much these days. Um, but he just kind of laid it on my heart to use a tool that I kind of had been dabbling with a little bit. Um, but mostly I was using it to post um, the rare video assignment for college. Um, but God basically laid it on my heart. Use what you got to tell your story and use uh, to use your experiences to help others. So, and if you're new to my channel, those experiences and what I've got sort of entails this. Um, and if you didn't see that really clearly, it's a wheelchair that I'm sitting in. Um, I was born 6 weeks early, and because of my impatientness, my impatientness, yeah, I'm not even sure that's a word. Um, my lack of patience, let's put it that way, to get into this world and be a troublemaker, some would say. Uh, my lungs weren't ready to pump air through my body. So, um, my brain was without oxygen for I'm not even real sure my mom has told me how long it took. I know it didn't take too long for the doctor to figure out, hey, something's not right. We need to get this kid on O2. Um, but it was long enough to where my brain uh decided to uh break itself. It's okay, you guys can laugh. Um, so I have a disability known as CP, and CP has a wide range of severities. I am, I don't want to say one of the lucky ones because um, some people might say that there is no such thing as being lucky when you have a disability. But I am one of the ones that I'm gonna say it. I got lucky. It could be a whole lot worse. I could be a vegetable, and I'm not. The part of my brain that was affected only affects only um deals with my motor function. So my hands, my legs, my arms, uh, all that stuff. So my handwriting stinks. I can't walk by myself. I spaz out all the time, which means any part of my body can start shaking at any minute. Anybody who watched last week's live stream saw that in action because when I started the live stream, as soon as I hit broadcast, I started spazzing out. And my upper body wasn't spazzing, but my lower body was. So if it looked like I was kind of slumped in my seat a little bit, I was. um, because my lower body had slid off my foot plate at the bottom of my chair and was hanging um, off. So my posture was a little bit jacked up there for a few minutes. Um, so yeah, that's a quick rundown for anybody who's new about why I look about dead even with the table instead of up above it, or however you want to call it. Um, what else? I'm a college student. I'm a junior um, at Moody Bible Institute up in Chicago. Uh, but yes, I'm in Tennessee because I use their distance learning program. So what I'm using right now to go live with you guys um, is my computer, and I am behind this thing pretty much every day. Um, for just being a normal 22-year-old, that's pretty normal, but I actually do school on it. So, um, I'm a junior, but I'm in a 5-year program. So instead of having about a year and a half left, I've got 2.5 left. Um, but that's fine because it's what God wanted me to do. And what He um has set before me. So, back to the big news that happened this week for the channel, and it was a really big boost um, to my confidence. Is even before I started recording YouTube videos, I would watch YouTube, and I'm a military brat, so I um would watch military themed videos, and one day I stumbled across this guy named Kyle Gott and his YouTube channel, which helped new Air Force trainees get ready for basic and the steps outside of basic. Well, um, even though my parents divorced when I was about six, about my dad left when I was about 14, 15. The divorce finalized when I was about 16. So, even though my dad's been gone for about 7 years now, um, being a military brat is still inside me and is still who I am. So, like I said, I started watching Kyle, and very shortly after I started watching him and his wife started their couples channel, Got Love. So I watched them and subscribed to them, and over the last year, they've been talking about uh, helping others start YouTube channels and all that stuff. So that's one of the catalysts that God used to show me, hey, I want you to do this. It's not easy, but and you don't have any of the fancy cameras or anything like they do, and they would say they don't, but compared to my setup, they do. So if you guys are watching this, that was a little blurb to you. But fast forward about 3 weeks ago, they were talking about the difference between a person who watches YouTube and a YouTube creator, commonly known as a YouTuber. So they said, if you're a YouTuber, comment YouTuber down below, and we will watch a video and comment on the video to um, let you know we watched it. It probably won't go anywhere any further than that, but we'll at least watch a video and maybe give you some feedback on how to make your channel and your videos better. So I did that. Well, they get a lot of comments because they've got followers all over the world, just like most every other YouTuber does. So I didn't expect anything of it. Well, I have a routine that I do about every morning when I wake up. I turn on my computer, and during the week, before I start school, I'll check my email and I'll check YouTube to see if there's any comments or questions I need to get back to, or if they form themselves into a video in my head. So, and I especially do this after Fireside Friday. Um, just to make sure there's no comments on the live stream that I could get back, that I can get back to. So last Saturday, I did that exact same routine minus checking my email because I really don't do that during the weekend because mostly uh, all that is junk email that I can take care of later. So I went straight to YouTube last Saturday, and my notification bell was lit up, and lo and behold, it's a comment from Got Love. They had watched my 2018 channel trailer, which, if you're new, I highly recommend you doing that because it gives you a even quicker, shorter uh, explanation of what the channel is and what it. And then lost my train of thought and what it does. What, not what it does, but what I hope to use it for. There we go. So, they commented on the video like they said they would. So I was on top of the moon. But then there's another comment from them, and it says, "You just gained another subscriber. Thanks for being inspiring and helping others." I was on the moon, but I went even further after I read that. So, this week the channel jumped from like 21 subscribers to 23 in about 2 days. And yeah, for most everybody, that's not gonna seem like a big jump. But to get somebody I watch and I'm subscribed to subscribe to me and tell me I'm inspiring and tell me thank you for helping others, that was huge. So yeah, that's what's been going on in the land of PJ Crouch YouTube over the last 7 days since the last Fireside Friday. Um, so, what else? Oh, and I posted on the YouTube Facebook page this morning for anybody who uh, likes that page and keeps up with it. I posted this morning that I would be recording and posting the last video to my internship series that kind of explains my Johnny and Friends internship experience from last summer today. And I will be doing that, maybe, depending on uh, where the rest of the night takes me. I'm by myself tonight. My mom and sister are performing in a dinner theater tonight and tomorrow night and Sunday. So I'm gonna be running solo for most of the weekend. Um, but that's what we do. We we do theater stuff, and sometimes I help out. I haven't been doing that a whole lot lately because I've been doing other things and getting ready to do other things. So that is that. So maybe by the end of tonight that will be up. Um, Definitely by um, next Friday it will be up. So I'm gonna have that wrapped up. So if anybody new wants to know what I'm talking about, there's two videos on my channel titled Internship Reflections for Knoxville and for Charlotte. So go watch those and you'll understand. And the last installment is gonna be a general answer some of the most frequent, frequently asked questions I've gotten since I've been back. So if you have questions, send them to me on either Facebook, leave them on one of those YouTube videos, um, Instagram, if you're an Instagram friend, um, or you can hit me up on Twitter and ask me there. Um, and then after I get those videos wrapped up, I'll move on to other videos. So if you guys have video ideas pertaining to my life or pertaining specifically to my disability, leave them in a comment section somewhere and I will get to getting those cranked out in the next couple of weeks. My semester for school started 2.5 weeks ago, so I've got my footing underneath me now. So now that I know what the workload is for each of my classes, I can uh, I can divvy up my time accordingly. So what else? What else? What else? I don't know. If you're watching this live right now, ask me a question. Send me a question. Oh, yeah. I said I was going for anybody who follows, who's new. I was gonna wait. When did my counter thing start? Um, I have no idea. My viewer counter, it'll go to one, and then it'll go back to zero, like a split second after it goes to one. So I have no idea what's going on. Um, but for anybody who's new, I was gonna or not. I was gonna understand. Yeah, I was gonna explain how Fireside Friday came about. So, um, because I haven't done that in a while. So, about 2 weeks, yeah, about 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, I started toying with the idea for a weekly live stream. Um, just to kind of connect with people a little bit more because the way my life is and the way my disability works sometimes it's a couple weeks or more than a couple um sometimes I've been better since I've been better recently, but sometimes it'll be a while between videos. So I decided um, to kind of give me a mark to reach and say, okay, I need to do more videos more frequently. I decided to do a weekly live stream. And for me and for a bunch of the people I started asking, Friday night was the best because it's the one night where pretty much everybody just does whatever. So the day was set. But I didn't want to just say Friday night weekly live stream. To me, that is boring. And if there's anything anybody will tell you about me, hopefully it is that I am not boring. Or hopefully it's not that I'm boring. So, I wanted a catchy name. So I started thinking about what I could call it. And then I thought about one of my favorite historical figures. And I want to preface this by saying um, he's not one of my favorite historical figures because of his politics. But one of my favorite historical figures is President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Delano Roosevelt, not Delano. Um, One because he led us through one of the most trying times in not just American history, but the history of the world. Um, During World War II, but because he had a disability, um, he was diagnosed with polio in his mid 30s, and for the rest of his life, he used a chair. Not exactly like mine. He'd probably love to have one like mine. Um, but he didn't let that chair stop him. Um, And every week during his presidency, he had what he called fireside chats, which was basically what I'm doing with you guys now. The only difference is YouTube or the internet wasn't even thought of yet. TV wasn't even. TV was still in somebody's head, getting ready to get spat out um, towards the end of the 40s. But he had radio broadcasts called Fireside Chats. And so I decided to morph Friday and use Fireside and morph those together to make Fireside Fridays. Not only as a catchy nickname for my live streams, but also to honor a man who didn't let his disability stop him and never quit and was always fighting until his dying breath. The name serves just as much as a reminder to me to keep fighting, um, just as much as it does a catchy nickname that might get people to watch my live streams. Because I'm gonna be honest, living with a disability is not fun. I can do some fun things like go to the front of the line at Disney World or get to meet famous people like Morgan Freeman, but it's not always fun. And I'm not sitting here reading fan mail because of it. Um, so some days I don't want to deal with it. Some days I ask myself, why? I ask myself why. I'm being straight up. Why me? I, I, to be honest, I started asking myself that more when my dad left because there was a discussion one night that I heard that I wasn't supposed to hear. And because of that discussion, I started questioning everything I was ever told, and that stings just as much as it does living with the disability because I don't want to feel like I'm the reason people aren't here. I don't want to feel like I'm a burden, but sometimes I do. That's just part of life. So every Friday when I see Fireside Friday on the side of my computer screen, it's a reminder to keep fighting. Not only for me, but for you guys. Because if I can't fight for myself, how am I going to help others? And that is the whole goal and mission of this channel is to help others who have a disability or who might know somebody who does but doesn't know how to connect with them. And trust me when I say, if you're friends with somebody um, who has a disability, I don't care what it is. I don't care if they're in a chair or if they're completely normal physically, um, but have a disability you can't see, like autism or epilepsy. If you're a friend to one of us, that friendship means more to the person than you will ever know. It probably means more to them than they can even describe. So, if I can help you guys as well as them, then all my struggle and all I've had to go through is worth it. So, any questions? Any questions? Is anybody watching? Does not look like it, but that does not matter. I'm gonna keep talking because just because nobody's watching now does not mean they won't watch later. So, what else? What else? What else? Is there anything else? Um, maybe, possibly. Hmm. Let's talk about something fun because I kinda got depressing there for a minute. So, one of the ways I, for lack of a better term, cope with my disability is I watch a lot of action movies. Um, I watch a lot of movies about race cars because I like to go fast. I'm 22, and when people in restaurants ask me if I want a drink, uh, as far as an alcoholic beverage, um, even though I can't drive a car because of my disability and one of the underlying issues that um, it causes, um, I say no because I'm still driving, and they kind of get a blank look on their face for a second, and then it's like a light bulb goes off because they see my wheels and they saw me push myself in 99% of the time. So then they start laughing, which makes everybody around me laugh. So yeah, that's one of the funniest perks of having a disability and being in a chair is um, because my mom taught me a long time ago that if you can't make fun of it, then you're gonna have issues. If you can't learn to accept it and make fun of it, then what's the point? So, and I tend to agree with her. So, the first one to make fun of me is usually me, and I gotta be in a really bad mood not to always be looking for ways to make fun of myself. So, that's another thing I can always say to people is find the bright spots. Find what, don't think about what your disability takes away from you. And I'm not saying that's not going to happen because it does. I'd be lying to you if I said it didn't. Because, like I said, after my dad left, I thought about that a lot. And I still do because I'm 22 and I'm still living at home, but I don't want to be. But right now, that's where I'm at. But don't think about what is taken away from you or limited you from doing. Think about what you have done. Like when I was an intern this past summer, I got to travel. I got to crisscross the southeast for 5 weeks. I started in Knoxville, Tennessee, went about an hour away from there, 30 minutes closer to my house, uh, to Dayton, Tennessee. I spent a week there, and then I went to Charlotte, North Carolina. Um, and then I went to Flat Rock, North Carolina after a week in Charlotte and spent 2 weeks there. And then I got to go see my grandparents in another part of North Carolina before I finally made it back to my house back in Chattanooga. I was counting um, how many road trips I made in 5 weeks. I made about 6 road trips, and they were small ones, but they were still driving further and further away from home. Well, except when I was in Dayton, because I was only about 45 minutes from my house at that point, which made my mom a little frustrated with me that I didn't call her and let her come see me. But as I told her, uh, when she finally found out how close I was, which wasn't until about 3 months ago, um, I told her I wasn't there to I wasn't there to call you and say, "Hey, come see me." I was there to work, so I didn't really think about it. Now, did I miss my mom during that time? Yeah, I did, but I honestly didn't even think about having her calling her and saying, "Hey, I'm this close. Come see me for an hour or two," because I was always busy. Like I mentioned a minute ago, I got to meet Morgan Freeman. Um, and yes, it was because of my disability. Um, like I said, I'm a military brat, and one of the places we lived was small. If you blink, you miss it. Town in Mississippi, in between Starkville and Oxford, where Mississippi State is in Starkville, and the University of Mississippi, or Ole Miss for those of us who know what that means, is in Oxford. Meridian is in between. It's like 2 hours from New Orleans. It's like 3 from Birmingham, Alabama. So we're on the edge of Mississippi, but we were in the middle of nowhere. But that middle of nowhere town is the start of, or is where the Mississippi Walk of Fame is. So anybody who's a movie star or a musician or has something to do with art or entertainment can get a star on the Mississippi Walk of Fame, just like the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Well, Morgan Freeman is from Grenada, Mississippi, down on the coast. So he came to Meridian to get a star on the Walk of Fame. And I was during that time, um, like I said, my family does theater, and after my dad left, I kind of dived into that a little bit more, um, to spend some time with my mom and sister and be able to relate to my uh, sister a little bit more. That way, we'd have something to talk about other than the bad stuff that was going on. So, my drama group, um, it was on a day that we didn't normally meet, but I think we had rehearsal that night for a show or something. So, what what the deal was we all met early, and I don't know, we it was actually a rare uh night. We didn't have rehearsal. Anyway, but we said, hey, anybody who wants to go to the unveiling, um, meet at the theater and walk because it's like 10 minutes from where the unveiling is from the theater. Meridian's downtown is small, so everything that is important is pretty much clumped together. So it's a 10-15 minute walk. So about 20 of us went down there and went early so we could get front row, which meant holding our hands onto the barricade instead of being 300 feet in the back to where we couldn't even hear. Well, I'm in the very front just because I'm in a chair, and once people start getting there, I can't stand up and see like everybody else can. So, um, we get there and we're there for about 45 minutes to an hour, and then the city dignitaries start coming out. So we know we're getting close. Well, where do the city dignitaries stand? Hmm, hmm, hmm. You guessed it. They stood right in front of the barricade on the inside. So where does that put me? Behind them. Right in front of the barricade on the outside, and I still can't see. Well, one of the public works officials who was there to make sure the barricade and all that stuff was squared away saw me trying to strain and trying. My mom trying to get me a better view, or asking one of my friends if they saw a hole that was big enough for me to slide into further down the barricade. Um, so this official sees it and goes, "Here, let's fix this." He gets out his pocket knife, cuts the zip tie holding that section of the barricade together, and says, "Just you and your mom." And he saw my little sister and assumed that she was my little sister and said, "You three come." And it was me and my mom. I know that for sure. I can't remember if my sister was included or not. But he's like, "Okay, you come inside and stand on the end, or sit in my case. Is you go to the end of where the dignitaries are." So we're like, "Okay, cool." Instead of being 100 feet, I'm about 60 feet away from where Morgan Freeman's gonna stand. So that was cool in and of itself. But then the next wave of more important city dignitaries come out. So I'm where he put me, and then more people come out. And where do they end up? They end up right in front of me again. So I'm 60 feet probably from where Morgan Freeman's gonna be. I can see where the stars at underneath the little black covering thing that they use. And the same, but I I can see all that, but I can barely see the podium. The same public works official that cut the barricade and let me come through said, "This ain't gonna work. Let's move again." So he gets me like 5 feet from where Morgan Freeman's going to be standing. So if it were the President of the United States, which Morgan Freeman has played many times in his career, I would be tackled by Secret Service. But I am literally 5 feet from where Morgan Freeman will eventually stand and give his acceptance speech and thank all the people he's going to thank. I'm like, this is really cool. I can at least tell people that I was 5 feet from one of the most recognizable voices in the world, let alone entertainment. So he comes out and does his thing, unveils his star, gets the picture, shakes the official's hand, and it's all over. So my mom and I are kind of just sitting there waiting to be ushered back to the other side of the barricade so we can meet up with our friends and leave. But then the same public works official that um moved me twice so I could seize, like, Mr. Freeman, I want you to meet one of our city's youth. This official does not know me from Adam, but I got to represent my city at the time and shake Morgan Freeman's hand. Well, the cool thing about that was 2 days beforehand, I had seen Red, which was his newest movie at the time, and it was the day after my 15th birthday. So I got to spend the day after my birthday shaking hands and talking to Morgan Freeman for a split second. That is one of the bright spots to what my disability does. Now, I'm not saying abuse that. What I am saying is you never know what you get to do or will get to do because somebody, I don't like using this word, but you never know who or when they are going to take pity on you. Don't milk it, but enjoy it. So that is the cool story for tonight. Maybe I'll start throwing one of these stories in live streams every week. I got a bunch. Um, Maybe I'll make videos about them. If you like that idea, uh, comment down below. And then maybe I'll start doing like a cool story time video once a week just to break up the monotony and the seriousness of the matter. So I'm gonna wrap it up for tonight, guys, and I will see you around the fire next Friday.